Greetings. I would like to start this episode off with a drink. No. Calm down. No, it's not. It's not apple cider. No. I've already said I'm never doing that again. No. I propose a toast to the Miami Dolphins, who last night kicked New England Patriot butts. I will definitely drink to that. Tastes like episode 12 of According to Spiky Dash, of course. Zoom and boom, every pony. Spiky Dash here with you. It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and we are live on, let's see, it's 12/12 on episode 12. I didn't plan that. I was going to do this last night, but didn't quite work out. But we are here. We are live, and oh my gosh, we have a lot. I have a lot on my mind. We have a lot to talk about in tonight's episode. Just a couple things. I mentioned a lot on Twitter earlier today as I kind of did a teaser for tonight's episode. So a lot to discuss in this episode. Again, even though the show is currently in hiatus, we're still a long ways away, I'm sure, from season 8. There's still a lot of things for me to talk about. So in this episode, I'll be talking about convention coming up in April. Got tickets, so I'll be showing those and tell my excitement about that opportunity coming up in April. So I'll be talking about that a bit. Got some new things to show you. Got some new swag, if you will. Got some new plushes to show you guys. One of my new jerseys that just came in recently. Plus, I got 2 more on the way. A very interesting investigation story that I kind of took part in myself. Sharing a little of my thoughts on Netflix, on their recent price increase, and my thoughts on that. Then ending with some football. My thoughts on the Tennessee coaching search that was, maybe wasn't, with all that. An epic rant on the college football playoff. And then maybe ending on some thoughts on the NFL, current state of the NFL, and fantasy football to end the episode. So no crazy ending in this episode. Nothing like what happened last time where I tried to commit myself to the fandom. No, I'm not going to do that. I will say, though, reflecting back on that, I mean, it's kind of like that instant moment of regrets. It's like it was an idea at the time I just thought of during the day. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm going to do something different, something, maybe funny, something, wild, wacky out there for me, from my perspective, because I had never done anything like that. So I just thought, you know what? I'm going to do somewhere. I'm going to tell them, okay, I'm going to commit myself to the fandom. I'm going to try to chug this gallon of apple cider. So it was an idea. It came out of nowhere, and I tried it, and you saw me vomit cider on live YouTube television, as I've said in the past. So that was definitely something, again, I will never ever do again. In fact, I got rid of that cider. I could not stare at it in the fridge anymore. I got rid of it. I could not do it. I could not hold myself to even drinking any more of it. Gives me a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah, it was. I could not do it. So could not do it anymore. So I just didn't want to look at it. So, lot to discuss, lots to talk about, and thank you guys again for joining me and again watching. All you subscribers, you guys are just awesome. The views, I really appreciate it. Getting a lot of good views on this show recently, on the stock report. So thank you guys so much. Now I do want to say one thing though, real quick, about the stock report. I understand. I know it has been a tough year for those of you who watch the stock report, and because I have not done a lot of it, at least in the latter part of the season. I've missed a lot of weeks because of being sick and being busy at work and and all that. And I will be the first to admit I am not proud of the fact that I've missed so many weeks this season. It has not been. Plus, it's not been a fun year for my team this year either, considering now I've missed the playoffs now 3 straight years after winning a championship 3 years ago, and I'm sick and tired of being average. But nothing I can do about it because it's mainly because of injuries and players just not producing and moves that aren't working out. So, but I am, like I said, I feel bad that I was not able to put out so much in terms of the FFSR this year, and I want to be better. I want to be better for you guys in the future. I want to, be able to have more time to do the stock report. And again, it way well boiled down to my work schedule. And I understand with the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving and the holiday, I can understand, me not having time to really prep and do, because you guys got to understand something. For me to prep for the stock report, it takes a lot of time. Like, it takes a good solid couple hours for me to really prepare to look at all the players in the matchups and see who's playing, who's not, that kind of thing. So I really want to go into an episode of stock report by being fully prepared, and I want it to be the best possible for you guys. So with that being said, and with that in mind, and the fact that my season's over, and even though the fantasy playoffs are starting for most of you either this week or next week or what have you, I'm probably, and okay, it's not probably, it probably will. This is probably true. I likely will not be doing another FFSR the rest of the season. And I know that might disappoint a lot of you that are in your fantasy playoffs, but for me, again, with it being the holiday season, with it, which I'm sure my work's going to pick up, being more busy with the weeks to come, and then me wanting to kind of shift gears and then, of course, focus on tracking the madness, which will be coming up here very, very shortly, starting next month. I want to focus on getting, my bracketology started, getting, looking at the teams this season in college basketball. I want to kind of shift more into that and kind of, now that my season's done, move away from fantasy football. So that's the only reason why. It's 2 major reasons why I'm ending FFSR now, because at least for this season, because just the lack of time, the lack of resources, the fact that my season's over, and the fact that I want to shift gears to focusing on tracking the madness. Now, of course, this show will still be continually going, at least again on a once or twice a month basis, but I also want to really start focusing on tracking the madness. So again, that's the reason why. And I want to say this, though. I will try hard really, really next year to be better with FFSR. And I know I might repeat myself there. I know I might say that every year, but I do be better. I want to, have more opportunities to, do weeks of shows. And I want to, really give my best in each one so that you guys get the advice you need to be successful each week and just do, an awesome job. Because that's what we want in fantasy. We want to be successful. So, so that's what's coming up next. And I know I got on a tangent on that, but I had to throw it out there. So, that just kind of maybe eliminated what I was going to say for last, but but I'll still talk NFL last. But at least that's the fantasy side of it. So FFSR done for the year, and we'll be shifting gears to tracking the madness, and of course still sticking with this show. So again, that's just why I want to throw that out there and just let you guys know my thoughts on that. Okay, so starting off, let's talk next year's Windy City PonyCon in Schaumburg. The thing that really started this series, that started this show. Again, I cannot say enough how much it inspired me to start this series. I think for Nate to start his channel, for me to get back into fic writing, and I am starting one, and I'm kind of in a, again, kind of with time and time/writer's block. Now I know where the story's going, but I don't have much time to really work on it. So I'm still a couple chapters in. I do need to find time to work on my fanfic, so I'm working on that as well. But Winnie City, again, it inspired me so much. And after my first experience earlier this year, that was definitely one of the highlights of 2017 for me. I really wanted to go a step further with 2018. I wanted to really have us experience a lot more than what we did with our first year. Because again, going into our first year, we were completely blind. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't, it was our first experience. We didn't know, what was there, but it just amazingly blew my mind. We were able to cram so much activity into 3 days, and it's such a blast. And now we have taken it a step further, and so I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled beyond belief that there was last couple weeks ago, actually, they did a Black Friday special on badge prices, and it was only this one-time thing. And luckily, at that point, I had saved up enough money. At that point, I'd been setting aside some of my paycheck for the past several months. I think 4 months, in fact, of saving up some money from my paychecks. And at that point, I had actually, when they made this discount available, I had saved up enough to get the badges for at least a sponsor level. So I am thrilled. I am humbled. I am really looking forward to the fact that this year for 2018 Winnie City PonyCon, myself, Nate, and his wife Sarah, we are officially Earth Pony sponsors. I am just so looking forward to this. We made it a goal. After our opening experience last year, we knew we were coming back in 2018, and presumably for the years moving forward, as long as they have the convention. And so we knew we were coming back, but we wanted to really try to get to a sponsorship level. And we really had to. And once the prices came out, that was my, I then started setting aside money and trying to get to this goal. Step one was getting this money saved for a sponsorship level. And I didn't know how long it was going to take. I thought it would, take a while. I knew I had to save up, at least a little bit aside each month. But it worked out in the end, thanks to this discount that Charlie Worley and the staff offered. So again, I reached out to him on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, Charlie, again for doing that, because it means so much. It was truly just awesome to do that. So we the three of us are all set, at least for these. I've already put in the time off request at work. Nate's going to try and get a job, and then he'll have to put in the request. I mean, Sarah now has got a job now. So then we just hope to get the days off approved. And we're going to try this year again. Last year, of course, being our first experience, we were kind of in a rush. We were trying to get down early that Friday morning before opening ceremonies. We barely did, thankfully. But this year, we're going to try and go down a day early on the Thursday beforehand, so that we can get checked in our hotel, get everything set, and then we can fully enjoy the con experience. Because being a sponsor is a pretty cool gig. I mean, from what you get a lot of perks. I mean, even at the lowest level, there's still a lot to be offered to you. You still get, a ticket to the Grand Galloping Gala, which is going to be very cool. You get, the lanyard and the poster, T-shirt, all the cool, con swag, if you will. Hashtag con swag. You get, and then you get an autograph voucher. You get priority seating to certain panels. You get early access to autograph lines, to the vendor hall. Access to the sponsor lounge. Sponsor dinner. This is what we were, when we saw everything was in the program last year, all these sponsors got, we're thinking to ourselves, why don't we go for that? Why don't we try that? And so now, lo and behold, we're getting that opportunity. So it was just awesome to at least get the hard part out of the way. At this point now, all that's really left for us to do is to get our hotel rooms booked and then save up for any like food or the vendor hall or what have you, or the charity auction, whatever. So it is going to be just, I'm sure, another awesome experience, just like earlier this year at 17. So very much looking forward to this. I cannot wait. We, of course, again, like I said, preparing for this. So it is going to be just just an awesome experience, and I cannot wait. And I'm really excited. I think we're all excited. And another thing that's a cool perk is there's a Facebook group of where just the sponsors get to talk. Now, of course, for these protections, privacy, and sanctity of that group, I will say this. I will not spoil anything on here that has been said in that group unless it has already been made public. I don't want to, spoil anything that I may know ahead of time. I'm not going to do that on the show. I'm not going to be disrespectful to Charlie or the con staff. I'm not going to do that unless it's already been made public. So I will, I'm taking this rule seriously. But I will say this, it's nice to have that forum. It's nice to have the way to reach out to everybody. And Nate has been talking up a storm in there. I mean, it has been, he's really been interacting with Charlie and everybody in there. So it's cool to see. It's really just nice to have that outlet to talk with everybody about anything con related. So very, very cool. Looking forward to it, and I'm so glad I got at least the hard part of it out of the way, done, and now can move on to getting the hotel rooms booked, and then saving up again for anything else con related. So we're probably going to try and get our same hotel we got last year, staying at the Comfort, which was again convenient, very close to the Hyatt. The perks that were there, the restaurant next door, the Lifetime Fitness, everything that was very cool. We're probably going to try and do that again because the rates are cheap and again the convenient perks right there. So yeah, it's again something to look forward to. It's an awesome experience, and I'm so excited. I can't wait for it. All right, but aside from that, other things I was excited about were a couple things that I've been getting in the mail or eventually coming to me in the mail that I've got over the past few weeks. Being a brony, being a fan, you got to have, I guess, some swag. You got to have some stuff related to the fandom, and I've acquired a couple, okay, not a couple, I shouldn't say that because you can't see it, but in front of my television, there are now like several different pony figures. I mean, there's tons of them. I have all the main 6. I have one of Lyra, of course, because you guys know for obvious reasons. I have, of course, I love the Wonderbolt, so I have one of Spitfire, Soren. Of course, I've shown you my vinyl Spitfire here. That always is on my desk, guarding my desk. And let's see. And then I want a Celestia, one of Luna, one of Nightmare Moon. Just tons of different ones. I have little ones of Shining Armor and Princess Cadence. I have a ton of them. But I also have plushies, and you guys have seen a few of them. I showed you guys when I got my Spitfire and Soren ones on here as well. And I have a couple Rainbow Dash ones. And of course, I showed you guys the one that I got signed at Winnie City earlier this year. So, yeah, I've got a couple. But I got a couple new ones in the mail recently. And again, this was a Black Friday deal. Build-A-Bear Workshop has been a great, source, because I got where I got my Rainbow Dash one from. And they've always been, whether you go in the store or order online, they're great. I mean, they're it's very cool to get stuff from. And they were doing a deal on Black Friday where you could get 2 for $45. And I'm like, wow, and of course normally a lot cheaper than what they are by themselves. So I knew that they had put out a whole new line of different ponies, especially with the release of the movie from last year, or not. Wow, I mean earlier this year. I'm already thinking I got 2018 in the brain already. Earlier this year. But the DVD comes out in January. So I knew that they had a couple new ones that I thought, they'd be probably a really cool add to the collection, because again, and I talk about these two all the time, because I talked about how much I liked them when they got reformed. Although I mentioned that I was more fond of one more forgiving of one than the other, because of the fact that she, was more, I think, accepting of friendship right away than the other one was. But the other one then quickly kind of grew on me more over the course of season 7 because of her strong character development. So if you guys know me, if you know this show, you probably know where I'm going with this, and you probably know the ponies I got from Build-A-Bear. So let me show you what I got. I got Tempest and Glimmy. Oh gosh, I had to. I mean, these are just so cute. I mean, I'm sorry. Let's look at Tempest first. I mean, what is not to love? Now, I find it odd that like the back of her legs, like if you sit her, like I'm sitting her on a couch, and it's like if you put her like legs back, it doesn't stand up quite right, which I found kind of odd. But I love the mane. I love that. Actually, when I took Tempest out of the box, and I just got these like a few days ago in the mail, no joke. But like they had like a plastic cover over it. I thought that was really cool. Like they're keeping it safe. So I thought that was really neat. But I love this. Of course, he had the broken horn. And the scars kind of noticeable, not like full on noticeable, but noticeable enough. And of course, it's got the Storm King mark still, but I just love that these are so soft. Like that's what I love about Build-A-Bear, and then her little mane or tail here in the back. But she's so cute, and I love how soft these are. So soft and huggable. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So even trying to stand her up now, it's like she has to rock back on her. All right, you stay there, Tempest. All right, here's Glimmy. You grew on me so much. And again now I had to keep her mane like banded together, because if you unband this, it kind of drops into a big old mess. Like it's just one big like. Her mane will get in the way a lot of the time. But I love this look. I love it. I love the color. I always love the colors on Starlight Glimmer. I love that. Of course, there's the cutie mark. But I'm just so soft. I love it. So I mentioned this. I've never had a character for me personally that did like a complete 180, that went from like, oh my gosh, I can't stand what you did, to wow, I really like you now. I mean, so yeah, you changed my heart in a way. You really did. So I just so soft, so cute. I had to add in my collection. So Build-A-Bear does a great job with these. Very, very detailed, very accurate. I mean, maybe not as accurate as Budsy's, but certainly on par. Certainly very close. And of course, her horn up here. I love the way they do. I love the way they do the horns too. The horns are very neat too. But very well done. Very, very well detailed. And again, these are just so cute. So there you go. I had to get these two in my collection. I've been very, very impressed by their character development, by their stories, by everything. So yeah, I had to bring you guys here. I had to do that. So yay. Oh. All right. They're chilling back on the couch with Felix the cat. All right. Oh, next thing I want to show you guys. So, if you guys, of course, follow me on Twitter, which hopefully some of you do, again, at Chris_Spiky Dash. Excuse me. You guys probably know that I'm a huge fan of Mascots. I've been a fan now for many years. I really enjoy them. I mean, again, and I say this all the time. It's kind of like it's a what's not to hate kind of thing. What's not to like? I mean, it's their passion, it's their energy, it's their excitement, it's what they do for their communities as representatives of their team that they support. It's all that they do, and I love every minute of it, and I love following them on Twitter with whether it be my favorite teams, or if I think the mascot's cool in general, I'll follow them on Twitter, and and again, as long as I don't have a grudge, some of them I do have a grudge against, but I don't follow them. But for the most part, I do like a lot of them. In fact, I follow them now. I think it's over. I'm up to like 140 some now on Twitter. 143, I think, is where I'm at now. And the majority of those are college, because there's a lot in the NCAA. I think 50 some of those are college alone. But I follow them, of course, from NHL. A lot on the NHL, of course. We got to see a lot of them and meet a lot of them at Fanfare. NBA, MLS, minor league hockey, all different areas. Minor league baseball, Major League Baseball, NFL, all different. And now I have a lot in the NFL too, because I met a lot of them, of course, at the Mascot Summit this year. Another highlight of 2017 for me. So you guys know that I'm just a big fan of Mascots, because I love their energy, and being a fan, I'm kind of like, in the stands am kind of like I'm being like a mascot with a voice in the stands. That's me. That's how I am as a fan. I'm very passionate, and you guys know that I'm live with passion. That's how I am. So I'm very passionate as a fan about my team. So with that being said, when I get a jersey of one of my favorite teams, I tend to, at first, before I became a diehard Mascot fan, I did buy player jerseys, because that's what you do. Either you buy them blank, or you buy one of your favorite players. So that's why I have, for the Indianapolis Colts, I have an Andrew Luck jersey, or for the Seattle Seahawks, it's Russell Wilson that I got at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton when I went on my road trip with Nate. Or when it was the Arizona Cardinals, I got off eBay a Larry Fitzgerald jersey. So for a time I did buy player jerseys. I had before the Pacers, when they were very good early on, I had the Andy Granger jersey. But as time went on, and players, some players tend to come and go. They get traded. They move on. They go back and forth, and they switch teams, they switch cities, or they retire, and it's kind of hard to justify wearing a jersey with the player on it. So I then kind of came up with a different idea. Why don't I get a jersey with the mascot? And now ever since I've kind of become this diehard Mascot fan, it's what I've done a lot more often. So for the Tampa Bay Lightning, if you guys saw my pictures when I went to Fanfare in Nashville a couple years ago, seeing me in my Thunderbug jersey, or and I post these to Twitter all the time when I get them. With the University of Colorado football, my guy Chip Toro from the Houston Texans, when I met him at Mascot Summit this year, and then I got my Toro jersey. I got my Miami Dolphins jersey this year with TD on the back. So it's so cool for me to represent not only my team and these teams that I like and follow and I'm a fan of, But the mascots, because they're just so cool to me. So now with the Pacers, Boomer was probably one of the first mascots I really ever liked. Like this was before I became like a diehard mascot, I guess, fan / supporter. But he was one of the first ones I really ever saw, and this was in the '90s when I really became a Pacer fan, when I really got into liking sports and being invested in games. Oh, excuse me. I'm really going on a ramble here. Anyway, yeah, this was when I was, really getting invested in sports and Pacer games, and I would go to games. I didn't really go to a whole lot in like the old Market Square Arena, but of course, when they built Conseco Fieldhouse, now Bankers Life, I would go to these games, and I went to the the NBA Finals in 2000, and that was awesome, and there was something about Boomer that just struck a chord with me, and it was just whether it was, again, his intensity, his energy, the dunk shows, those were all well and good at first, and then more recently, a couple years ago, I'll never forget it. First time actually, since the younger days, seeing him as an adult and actually, getting more vested in mascots. Boomer came to Purdue when I was going to school at Purdue. Boomer came as part of a mascot night for a women's I think it was a women's basketball game. I'll never forget at Purdue, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to meet him. I want to get my picture with him. And it kind of became like, in a way, I hate to say it, this mission for me. Like, I really wanted to get a picture with Boomer. I wanted to, really, meet him and get a picture and everything. It was just like, oh, I want to meet him. So it was just so cool. And actually, he came like right before the game. He was like, I was like sitting like right a couple rows from the front, I think, or at least the section back behind the front of the basket. And he actually came, like, looked up at one of the rows and saw me, and I didn't say anything then. I should have. I noticed it, but I didn't say anything then. But in the end, he didn't come up to my section the rest of the night, and I left the game, even though I think Purdue won. I left kind of bummed because, and it kind of angry because I hadn't fulfilled what I had hoped to accomplish. But over time, then still, I became again more vested in Boomer. I now have a fat head on my bedroom wall. I would watch Pacer games, to looking for him, kind of like my mascot vision. I would, look like, where's he at in games? And I still do that to this day, but, I'm looking for him. And, and then the cool thing, besides the dunk shows, the stunts. I mean, it is the absolute coolest thing that he does, whether it's before a game, during the intro, or during the fourth quarter, when he rappels down from the rafters or goes up to the rafters. It is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen a mascot do. And again, it just fueled my fanaticism even more. So much so that when I got finally got a custom Pacer jersey a few years ago, the white home version. Actually, at the time, I did have Boomer Fan on the back, and I posted that to Twitter as well, Boomer Fan 01. But then over time, I found that the lettering wears off quite quick. It's not embroidered; it's heat twilled, which is bull. So then I had to go to the luxury of actually buying a kind of embroidered kit on eBay, and then like with the letters and actually stapling it to the back. And even though, I would still wear the jersey at games and stuff, I was not thrilled about that, that I had to wear it like that. That it was not very flattering to me. And I'm thinking, if Boomer sees me in this, I would have felt like horrified. So flash forward now to before this season, and as it turned out, of course, the Pacers got a new look. They got new jerseys, new everything. And at first, I was not thrilled with the new look. I thought it was kind of bland. I thought it was kind of boring. I was not a big fan of it. But as time went on, I warmed to it, like like I do with a lot of things, apparently, that eventually my perspective changes. And I warmed to the new look, and it looked really neat. And turns out that with the new ones, you could get a custom jersey from, I think it was either Fanatics or Fans Edge, one of the two. So I decided, what the heck? It was being, Boomer fan on my back was nice and all, but I really want to really honestly pay respect and homage and show my passion to really the first mascot that I ever really liked. Like it started, the one that started it all. Like, you never forget your first, the one that, really took off, like your passion for mascots. And so I, made it right then and there to say, let's do this. And so put in the order. Of course, with it being a custom order, took a little longer and took a bit, but finally, I think a couple weeks ago, it finally came in, and I posted it to Twitter. So when I finally got this, I was so thrilled. So here is the front, of course, the 00 and the circular look, which I wasn't thrilled of at first, but I dig it now. But of course, the reason I do is because of this. I mean, this was just so awesome. So, and I don't think this is not heat twill. This is actually pretty much legit to the close. It might not be exact the embroidery they use, but it's pretty darn close. This I don't think is going to come off in the dryer, if you know what I mean. So, so this is not only my thank you to the Pacers for all that they've meant to me over the years, but this is my thank you to Boomer. For me being a mascot fan, that you were the first, and I hope, I'm wearing this with pride when I watch the Pacer games on TV. I, again, hope to make it to at least one, maybe two games at the Fieldhouse this season, and I will wear this with pride. Because the Pacers this year, like I said in a couple videos ago, they're entertaining, and actually they're really starting to be really good. And again, I never thought that I would see that happen. I am totally blown away by the Pacers right now. I mean, they are actually a legit team, not just in the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA. They are impressing a lot of people. National media has the Pacers, some of them top 10 in their power rankings, like number 7. I think ESPN has them at 9. I mean, these guys are good. I mean, they're really good. And again, after all the moves this team made, I never ever thought that I would say that in year one of this turnaround after Paul George. But Victor Oladipo is a stud, a straight up stud. And many people now are saying that we pretty much stole him and Sabonis from Oklahoma City for exchange for Paul George, because the Thunder are like 12-14, and they're not doing that well. And the Pacers actually play the Thunder tomorrow night. And unfortunately, I will miss the game because I have to work late. But I posted on Twitter, if I were watching that game, I would boo Paul George so hard my TV would cry tears of shame. That's how much I despised what PG did to the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis and Pacer fans, the way he treated them, saying he was not willing to stay and because he wanted to go to a championship contender. Who's the contender now, Paul? Riddle me that one. They're gonna boo him. I know they're gonna boo him. It's a given fact to me. And there are some pundits out there saying, "Oh, lay off of him. He was one of the best Pacers ever." Really? Really? Is there a statue of him outside Bankers Life Fieldhouse? I don't think so. In fact, there's no statues outside Bankers Life Fieldhouse. But if there was, they'd probably have a hard time picking which one it would be. But I tell you who it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be no Paul George. It'd be George McInnes, maybe, Reggie Miller, Mel Daniels, all those good guys, actually in the Hall of Fame, that were good Pacers, Hell, Slick Leonard could get a statue out there, for gosh sakes. We're not Paul George. So I really hope to get to a game or two this season. I really do. I really hope that I do. So Pacers, Boomer, thank you. I mean, you guys, I'm with you through it all, through the good, through the bad, through everything. I'm there. I'm blue and gold for life. And this just reiterated because I can talk words, reiterated that fact. Thank you. Okay. Speaking also of jerseys, though, I do have actually 2 more on the way. And according to the email I got recently, they actually should be coming tomorrow. So I'll hopefully post those to Twitter once I receive them as well. I also follow a couple teams in the American Hockey League in the AHL. And I should be getting in my Ontario Reign and San Jose Barracuda jerseys very soon that I've also mentioned on here. It took a lot longer than usual. Normally it takes about 3 to 4 weeks, but I actually got an email from the guy who runs the AHL store about a week or so ago that basically said, our customizer is taking longer than usual because so many orders have been placed for custom jerseys, from all different leagues. So it's been kind of a backlog. So I understand that. It's a busy time of year. It's the holiday season. I get that. So I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad. I didn't write anything back, but I would have said, Sean, no worries. Maybe I would have said Hakuna Matata. I don't know. But, no worries. I understand. Busy time of year. I get it. I'm not angry. I'm not mad. Just whenever you send them to be great. So as long as you don't lose them. So I should be getting those very soon. Again, according to the email, hopefully tomorrow. So that would be exciting as well, getting my Reign jersey with Kingston on the back and my Barracuda jersey with Frenzy on the back. So very much looking forward to that. All right, next. Kind of an interesting story here regarding footwear. Let me put it this way when it comes to my shoe game. If I was under contract with anybody, if I was, I'm not, but if I was, I would probably be under contract with Nike because a lot of my shoes are actually Nike brand. I rarely have anything else. Like, I think I have like maybe one other Adidas and one something else. I think that's pretty much it, or a couple different brands, but the majority of my shoes are Nikes. And actually, a few of them again are mascot inspired. Because I think they're cool. So it's like swag. Again, it's kind of like swag. So I have a big pair of Adidases that are actually inspired by Peter the Anteater from UC Irvine. I have a pair of Nikes that were inspired by Toro. I have a pair that were, I think, inspired by Rodney the Ram from VCU, the VCU Rams. So I get these inspirations and ideas from seeing pictures of them, and I do my little bit of research, and I figure out what models they wear. So flash forward to probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. They're, one of my favorite teams I follow in the NFL is the Detroit Lions, and you guys probably know this from when I first started the Stock Report. If you guys remember from the very first episode, actually It's funny. I watched back some of those first episodes, and oh my gosh, that show's come a long way from what it is then to what it is now. But anyway, but if you guys recall, the hat that I wore for those episodes, it was a Detroit Lions hat. It was one of my first teams that I ever liked, besides the Colts, of course, was the Lions. And now it's grown a little bit to include some more NFL teams. I'm up to 6 now that I follow. But the Lions, you know, I liked them not only because, again, the team name, of course, is cool. The colors, the unique Honolulu blue is awesome. But I also liked the team mascot, Rory. And he's also one of my follows on Twitter as well. And, you know, another thing I admire about mascots, I love when a mascot is in full uniform, like full gear. Like I admire that highly because it's showing that they are a part of the team. You know, they're not just, you know, they're not in, you know, yes, in a way it is a side role, but they're showing their representation for the team. They are that passionate about the team. So they are in full uniform, full gear, and they look like they could be part of the team. I admire that. I think that's very, very cool. Hence why I'm not so fond of Bailey from the LA Kings, who mostly wears 70s Cooperall pants. But anywho, no, I dig the fact that, you know, Rory's in full uniform, and I love that. But I also found it very, you know, that his shoe style was very unique. You know, I had never seen a style like his before, and so again, being inspired and being, trying to get, it's comfortable stuff to wear, and I'm quickly finding that I understand why some mascots like some of these models, because some of these that I found are some of the most comfortable that I've ever worn in my life. Like, no joke. Like, they are honestly, my mind is blown every time I get one of these. And I'm like, I understand why so-and-so mascot likes these, because they're that comfortable. But I then started to kind of say, okay, I started researching, like, what model could this possibly be? Well, I started to look up, and now normally when I just, look at pictures and try to match it up with, with models, it takes me a few days. Like, it does not normally take me this long because it's really easy to match up. I'll type it in on Google, or type it in on Google Shopping or Google Images or eBay or what have you, and it usually comes up like that. Like, it's usually instant for me to find what I'm looking for. But this one was like the U2 song. Like, I still haven't found what I'm looking for because it took me like forever. Like, I could not find it for the life of me. It was just driving me batty. Like, it was driving me insane. In fact, I got so desperate to find out what this bottle was that I posted a picture to Reddit. Like, I posted a little image to Reddit, like, and trying to identify this Nike model. I was going to Dick's Sporting Goods at the mall in Lafayette. I was going to Dunham's here in Logansport. I was going to different places to try and see if I could find a match for whatever this was. I couldn't find it because there were so many different unique elements to this shoe. There was, you couldn't see the tag on it, and the laces were different, and there was like these little finger loops on the sides, and it was like, and the swoosh was backwards. The swoosh was backwards. You don't see that very often. So I'm trying to feel like at this point, I've been going on now this for like a week or so, and it's like, oh my gosh, give me a clue. Like, somebody give me a clue here, because I hadn't seen anything from Reddit. I hadn't seen anything in Images. I hadn't seen anything on eBay. Nothing. I was finding, honestly, nothing. I was getting nowhere with this search. And then Rory posted a picture to Twitter. And this eventually opened the gates. It at least gave me an idea of what I was looking for. It was right before the Thanksgiving game, that Rory posted this. And it's a throwback uniform. But then you notice, if I zoom in a little bit, that is what I was looking for. And I got finally a clearer picture of what I was looking for. And sure enough, I could actually finally see the tongue on these things, because in the pictures that I had seen, you couldn't see it. And it actually said Nike Training. So now I knew what model to look for. That was the clue that I finally needed. It was like that moment of, oh, you know, it's like, oh, or the Hallelujah chorus, oh, no, no, no. You know, it's like, you know, here's your clue. You know, it's like, here's what you need. Go find it. So, you know, go find shoe such a, you know, here is your clue. You know, or it's like Alex Trebek with shoes. The category today, the category is shoes. Here is your clue. Ding. Ah, you know, yes, 500, Alex. So I knew what I had to look for. So then I started searching for Nike Training or Nike Trainer, and then I started narrowing it down, and then finally on eBay, after going through page after page after page after page, like on the 6th or 7th page, I finally found it. I finally found the one I was looking for. I finally found it. And it was the Nike Train, like men's Train Quick. It was one of the like older models. It was one I think you could hardly find anymore, because it was just so, you know, you couldn't really find it anywhere else. And that's why I couldn't find it in the stores or online or what have you, because it's so hard to find. But eBay is a gold mine of stuff, and thankfully I was able to find a pair. I was able to find and actually these I think are a size 12, I want to say. So I got them. And let me tell you, these are pretty darn comfortable too. I mean, these are, and actually these came with the original laces with them. Like they're longer, they're gray, they're more, you know, but those were kind of rough. So I switched out as well, kind of like what Rory did, because he switched them out too eventually. So again, I'm that inspired. So I switched them out, and the only downside was these did not have the original insoles in them, unfortunately. So I had to buy new ones for them. But still, very, very comfortable, very, very cool, and I'm so glad that I was able to find these after a long time of not even knowing what they were. So again, another nice addition to my collection. I wear them a lot at work. I'm wearing them a lot at work lately, aside from a couple other Nikes that I have, you know, like the Dunk Lows that are inspired by Toro, or even the highs that are the navy ones that are inspired by Toro. I wear those a lot. My other Nikes are inspired by Rodney. So yeah, whenever I'm in a mood to wear, you know, different, I mix it up from day to day. So based on what mood I'm in. So another awesome find, just very, very cool. So but yeah, that took me 2 weeks. And again, normally it does not take me 2 weeks to find something like that I'm looking for. But that clue is what I needed. So thank you, Rory, for for that little clue that you might not have thought did much at the time, but it helped a fan of yours find an inspiration. So thank you. Last couple things. Netflix. I didn't mention this when I tweeted about it, but yeah, Netflix raised its prices. It took effect actually for me this month. Went up by $1. So from the $9.99, it is now $10.99 a month. And you know, I can sort of understand why. I mean, Netflix is very popular in this day and age of you know, streaming media becoming more and more popular. I can understand why, you know, but here's the thing also, they're trying to get more shows in there, and you know, more demand. And I can totally dig why Netflix is doing this. They're trying to get more out there to their customers, and sometimes you got to raise prices. It's like anything, whether it be cable or satellite or what have you. Sometimes you got to jack the prices up to compensate for getting that product out to consumers. So I get it, and totally understandable. It's still some of the best money I've ever spent. I mean, it's for the content that is out there, for what's on Netflix, all the comedy specials that I watch. I'm a big comedy buff. I like to laugh. I listen to comedy every night when I go to sleep. It helps me sleep. I don't know why, but it does. It helps me sleep. Whether even though I'm maybe laughing in my mind, it helps me sleep. Whether it's whether it's Jeff and Larry's Roundup on Sirius XM or Laugh USA or 24/7 comedy on iHeartRadio, it helps me sleep. So I like listening to it at night. And during the day when I listen to it, it makes me laugh. So I love it. So whether I'm watching that or whether I'm watching Skylanders Academy, which I hear, I'm a couple episodes in for season 2. I hope to watch the rest of that very soon, and I have heard they're working on season 3. So yay! Thankful to the staff of Skylanders Academy for doing that, because I love that show. Big Skylanders fan, so I love that. Or whether I'm watching, catching up on MLP episodes or what have you, whatever I'm watching on there, it's great, and there's so many options available. There's so many great shows on there. It's a great lineup of stuff that's available at your fingertips for not very much a month. So I still appreciate Netflix very, very much. Even so, again, I totally dig it. I totally understand they have to raise their prices to get more out there. Totally cool. Netflix, we're cool. We're still cool. I don't despise the fact that you have to raise your price. That's normal in this day and age. I mean, it's there's so much competition out there in technology with with other streaming services, like whether it be Sling TV or Roku or Hulu or Amazon Fire Stick or what have you. There's a lot of competition. A lot of companies are trying to get your attention. Hey, watch us. So spend your money here. Et cetera, et cetera. So I understand that, and while that might be a turnoff for some people and say screw you, I'm going to fill in the blank, I don't see it that way. I still get a lot of value out of my Netflix. So I'm not bitter in that at all. I understand why they have to do it, and it's totally okay. I'm not going to rant on that. I see no reason to rant on that because I understand why it's being done. So Netflix, we're cool. We can still Netflix and chill. We're cool. What I'm not cool with, though, is some football-related stuff. Let's start with Tennessee. Oh, Tennessee. Nobody wanted your football job. Your college football job became the most toxic in America in a matter of seconds. I mean, my word, Tennessee. I mean, I understand Butch Jones didn't do a great job, and of course, Tennessee was not competitive in the SEC after a great start to the year. I think they lost every single conference game. I think they even lost to Vanderbilt, which is pretty sad. But gosh, Tennessee. I mean, the fact that you even tried to hire Greg Schiano, that you even tried, that you had a memorandum of understanding with him, maybe knowing full well that the fans would not like it. Because Tennessee fans aren't stupid, okay? Let's just get that out of the water right away. Tennessee fans aren't stupid. They're compassionate. Well, not compassionate, but they're passionate. They're intense. They're loyal. They embody Rainbow Dash's element, okay? They are loyal to the orange core. They are the T. To a T, literally. And they were not going to stand for a coach that was tied in any way. And I don't care whether or not Greg Schiano had anything to do with the scandal. I don't care if he didn't know, wasn't in the inner circle, didn't even know Jerry Sandusky personally. I don't care. If he had any ties to Penn State, if he had any knowledge of it whatsoever, if he had any way of knowing of it whatsoever, Tennessee fans were not going to stand for that. They weren't going to do it. They immediately said, no, we will not let you hire him, or we'll protest on campus in front of everybody so that the nation sees us, and go so far as to paint on a rock Schiano covered up rape at Penn State. Look it up. Google it. Google search it. Twitter it right now if you have to. Look it up. I'll wait. Are you back? You see? I mean, Tennessee fans were not going to stand for that crap. And Tennessee should have known it. The AD should have known. But he didn't. And he tried to hire a coach. And I understand Tennessee came out and said, oh, we did our due diligence. We did our background, everything. There was no evidence that he knew anything. And he is an outstanding man, coach, people person. Maybe he's his father, I think. All these good things about Schiano. And that may very well be true. I'm not going to be on here and slam Greg Schiano. I'm not going to do that because I don't know the truth either. And really there's nothing out there to say that he had anything to do with Penn State. But the fact of the matter is, someone testified under oath during a jury trial, Mike McQueary, that Schiano knew something and didn't tell anybody. And in this day and age, where the big stories now of this year are the women coming out, so much so that Time made them their People of the Year. The women that are coming out and speaking out, saying that they've been sexually assaulted and abused by men in power. In this day and age, if you know something and you don't speak up, you're guilty by association. Period. End of statement. Even if the evidence isn't against you. The allegations start flying and immediately you become labeled. You become probably suspended from your job, which is what has happened now to several big names in the industry. Harvey Weinstein, 3 analysts from NFL Network today were suspended because of allegations. Marshall Faulk, Heath Evans, Ike Taylor, all these big names, Kevin Spacey, the list goes on and on. For gosh sakes, our president has been accused by several women. You don't think this is a prevalent problem? It is. And it's disgusting, and it's sick, and it's twisted. But that's just it now. Because now it's so prevalent, no one gets the benefit of the doubt anymore. You're immediately labeled a sexual predator. It's truth. Or a accomplice to a sexual predator. Is in the case of Schiano. He knew something and he didn't say anything, according to Mike McQueary, under oath, under federal oath during a federal jury trial. And if he lied about it, Mike McQueary would be charged with perjury, but he hasn't been. So we can only assume that what he has said is true. Even though there's no smoking gun, there's no evidence against Schiano to validate that claim. If he was lying, McQueary would be charged with perjury. But that hasn't happened, has it? No. There hasn't been any evidence to the contrary against these women making their statements. Has there? No. When the evidence builds up and builds up and the allegations build up and build up and there's no counter argument, there's no counterpoint to go against that, you're not just saying, oh, I didn't do that, or you're denying it. If you can't make a good counterpoint to it, you're basically just digging your own grave. You're not making the situation any better. You're just making a bigger hole for yourself. And maybe Greg Schiano, he really didn't get the opportunity to defend himself because Tennessee couldn't put themselves in that light. They immediately said, okay, clearly here we screwed up. We put ourselves in this situation. We should have known our fan base better. We should have known that they would do their homework. We should have known that they stand for a person that was tied to this disgusting behavior by Jerry Sandusky, abusing children, in a sexual way, sexual abuse in general. It's like what happened at Basecom, at Baylor. And those women, where's their validation? They haven't gotten it because the NCAA won't do anything to Baylor. And I hate going down that path again because that really makes me angry. But, there's got to be validation. There's got to be accountability. Someone's got to shoulder the blame. I applaud, though, the women that have spoke up. I do applaud them for having the courage and the braveness and the brevity and the intensity to come out and say, yes, this happened to me and I want to share my story. And maybe and I don't think it's just to ruin someone's lives. It's because they don't want it happening to them again, and they don't want that happening to other women by the same person. They don't want other people to go through what they went through. So, where did Tennessee go from here? I know that's another epic rant, but where did Tennessee go from here? After realizing they couldn't hire Greg Schiano because of the fan base protesting, they reached out then really to anybody they could. But here again was the honest truth. Because it was at that point already poison, because they'd already poisoned and saturated the job so much so that nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted the Tennessee job because of how much the AD and the administration screwed up. Nobody wanted this job. Big name coaches were turning this job down. David Cutcliffe at Duke, Jeff Brom at Purdue was actually considering this job. And I tweeted out in desperation, no, Jeff, do not take this job. You're just now bringing Purdue football back to relevance. And you really want to be put under the microscope by a maybe too passionate fan base that holds these high expectations in regard. Tennessee wants to be competitive in the SEC. They have this high standard of being competitive in SEC, and I get that. Teams have high standards. I understand that. But this is a program that expects to win. They expect to compete for SEC titles. And lately, it just has not been happening at Tennessee. Oh, man, I'm on a roll. I mean, they expect to have success, and it hasn't been there. So, but big-name coaches, after they couldn't get Cutcliffe, couldn't get Brom, couldn't get Mike Gundy to leave Oklahoma State, his alma mater. He didn't want to go there. Dave Doran from NC State, he didn't want to go there. He didn't want to leave NC State. Why would these coaches lead these programs when they're having such success at these programs that don't really hold them to such a high standard? For gosh sakes, for Purdue, it was great for them to get just back to a bowl game this year. Purdue was in the toilet for 3 straight years with Darrell Hazel as coach. It was a toilet program. And for Jeff Brom to get him back to a bowl in his first year, that's at least a start. Don't go expecting titles right away. Duke was a football toilet for years until Cutcliffe came along. Now they're going to bowl games on a regular basis. That's a start. Oklahoma State was okay for years, but not being competitive in the Big 12 until Mike Gundy came along. NC State was a joke of a football program until Doran came along. These coaches are doing great things with these small programs, or smaller, I should say, who don't put the weight of these big expectations on their shoulders. If any one of them had taken the Tennessee job, it would have been far, far too much for them to handle. They would have sunk. They would have sunk. Because the fans would have expected too much, the boosters would have expected too much, the administration would have expected too much, everyone would have expected too much right away. Tennessee fans aren't patient. You can't be when you're playing in the SEC. You can't be patient. You want to be competitive now. So no one wanted this job. It had become poison, toxic. No one wanted it. And eventually, in a way, I guess they had to settle on Alabama's coordinator, Pruitt. They had to settle on him because at that point, who else was left? I mean, that didn't already have college experience. I mean, who was left? They really had no other options. So really all I can say about Tennessee is this. And eventually the AD, I will say in the search, the AD lost his job over it. John Curry lost his job because he bungled this search so bad from the start. The memorandum just was released today, actually. You can find it on Deadspin. Greg Schiano was set to make at least almost $5 million per year for the next 7 seasons. Nearly $35 million. And maybe in the end it would have been a great hire. But Tennessee fans know better. They hold people, their players and coaches to a higher standard. They want to win now. It may not have worked. But Tennessee fans know what they want. And they didn't want a coach that was tied to one of the most horrible scandals to ever impact college football. They wanted nothing to do with Greg Schiano. And in the end, that decision created a domino effect for every college football coach and for the Tennessee administration. And here's hoping in the end, though, that the domino that doesn't fall is Tennessee's relevance in the SEC for years to come. Because if you're going to get back, I mean, yeah, there's nowhere to go but up. But you got to get there first. Because if that wasn't epic rant enough, I got one more. You guys know I've been tweeting about this one for days, weeks, ever since the College Football Playoff rankings started. I mean, let's be real. I understand the College Football Playoff Committee has a hard job. I understand that. Believe me, I say it every year, I would not want to be in that committee room because I'm sure the decision is very, very difficult. It is not an easy task to pick the 4 best teams in college football. But for gosh sakes, it seems like every year, every single flarkin' year, the standards by which the teams are picked are different, vastly different. One year, head-to-head and conference titles actually mean something. One year, having a conference championship game actually means something. Looking at you, TCU and Baylor getting snubbed. One year, actually not even being in your conference title game actually means something. Ohio State last year. I mean, different standards. No levels of consistency. And this year, the hashtag CFP joke committee took it one step further. We kind of knew coming in when the big selection show day was announced. We had a general idea of 3 of the 4 teams. We knew Clemson was going to be in, and likely number 1, after their dominant performance against Miami in the ACC Championship. They're the defending national champs. They look just as good as they do now than when we had Deshaun Watson. They're a great football team. Even though they lost to a non-bowl team in Syracuse, the committee took into account that they did not have Kelly Bryant in that game. Made a difference. So, Clemson, unequivocally, number 1. 100% agree. Oklahoma, number 2. Absolutely. Well-deserved. One of the best teams in the country. Big 12 champions with a dominant performance against TCU that, unfortunately, even as a TCU fan, I saw coming. Baker Mayfield deserved the Heisman Trophy, by the way. One of the best seasons I've ever seen. One of the best quarterbacks in the country. Best players in the country. Yes, are some of his antics Johnny Manziel-like? You bet they are. The flag planting against Ohio State? Stupid. The crotch grabbing and trash talking to Kansas and not shaking the captain's hand? Stupid. It got him benched for a half. But you cannot deny Baker Mayfield's talent level. Oklahoma absolutely deserves to be in the playoff. Georgia absolutely deserves to be in this playoff. SEC champions. Great performance against Auburn. Only 1 loss all season. Talented up and down the roster. Well-balanced offensively, defensively. You know, Nick Chubb and Shoney Michel make a nice 1-2 combination at running back. This team is just well-rounded all across the board. I watched the SEC championship game against Auburn, and I was just so impressed by the way that Georgia started out slow, but then, boom, took the game over the second half, dominated. Well-deserved. So it came down to that 4th spot. And honestly, after watching the Big Ten championship game, I thought, for a fact, that Ohio State, considering its resume compared to the other teams, I thought, after winning the Big Ten title, beating an undefeated Wisconsin team that came into the day ranked number 3 in the country, undefeated. Big Ten champions, huge wins up and down the resume, a far, far superior resume than the teams underneath them. I thought for a fact that the committee would value that. And I thought for sure that the Big Ten and Ohio State deserved a shot. But, as they seem to do every year, this CFP joke committee had a surprise for us. And I'm going to show you, this is not for show. This was, I will show you on my phone, this was my genuine reaction. I recorded it. This was my genuine reaction to what the committee did. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so you can actually hear this because the audio might not be great. But I need to show you this. This is my genuine reaction to what the committee, to what this joke committee did. Here we go.
Are you freaking kidding?
Oh, I better go to the start first, shouldn't I?
All right, I'm recording this, my reaction, mainly. No surprise in the top three. Clemson 1, Oklahoma 2, Georgia 3.
Mm-hmm.
No shocker there.
Right.
This fourth choice, hopefully, is Ohio State. If it's Alabama, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm sorry.
You sense where this is going.
Ohio State earned their spot last night.
They did.
This, so nerve-wracking, so nervous.
I was nervous.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, this has got to be Ohio State.
Gotta be.
All right. Come on. Who's that fourth spot?
I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Then drum roll. Oh, of course, you got to draw the suspense up and show the comparison.
Yeah, milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, right? Yeah, USC is not getting in. Sorry. It's definitely not USC.
Right.
Great, you won the Pac-12 title, but not getting in. It's either Alabama or Ohio State. And if this committee factors in the conference championships, then they put in Ohio State. If oh man,
Spence was killing me, wasn't it?
oh my gosh.
Here it comes.
Oh, you freaking bastards! Are you freaking for real?
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding?
Nope.
Freaking Oh, this committee is a joke. Oh, this committee is a freaking joke.
And that's where the hashtag CFP Joke Committee was born. Oh, you freaking bastards. That was my reaction. It's an absolute joke. I'm sorry. Alabama does not deserve to be in this playoff. I'm sorry. They don't. And the South can hate me all it wants. But they don't. I mean, I'm sorry. This committee, they sat at home, did not even win their division, did not play for an SEC title, did not have the quality wins that Ohio State had, and yet they get to go to the playoff. And Ohio State gets, a great bowl game. Takes me off. This committee just, what does it take? What does it take to get in? Well, I'll tell you now what it doesn't take is a conference championship. It means nothing. It honestly means nothing. Unless you're one of the top teams going into it. If you're one of the top teams going into it and you win, like Clemson, like Oklahoma, like Georgia, then yeah. If you win it, then yeah, it means something. But if you're one of those teams floating around that last spot, it doesn't matter for crap. Doesn't matter for crap. Alabama got rewarded for sitting at home. Absolutely just pathetic. Burned me up. Hated it. And I still hate it. And I hate it so much. I'm not watching the playoff this year. That's right. I'm not giving you money and attention. I'll watch all the other bowl games. I'm not watching the playoff. Who wins the national title this year? I could care. Care. Don't care. Don't care. Because I have no rooting interest. I have no vested interest. I don't have an interest now because you shut out the Big Ten, which shouldn't have happened. Ohio State deserved better than that. They really did. In fact, Kirk Herbstreit was so mad. You don't see in the video, but he was so upset or distraught. He walked off the set. Hey, Herbie, I would have done the same thing. I would have done the exact same thing you did. I would have walked off the set. And then I probably would have said some muffled curse words as I walked down the hallway. But I would have done the same thing. Because that was... And the committee is... And this committee doesn't know what they're talking about. It's a... This idiot committee is a excuse. I mean, I would have said some things. So it's a joke. It's an absolute joke, and I will not be watching. Not the playoff. I'll be watching. I'll watch all the rest of the bowl games, and I hope they're great. I will not watch the playoff. And I've boycotted a lot of things for different reasons when it comes to sports. I think I boycotted FIFA when it was under Blatter's leadership. I've done boycott other things, but this probably will be, you know, a huge one for me. You know, not like, oh, you're not watching the playoff, you're not watching the national championship game, you're not going to watch who wins. No, because the committee got it wrong. They got it wrong, and I don't like wrong. I don't stand for wrong. Wrong ain't my thing. So that's that. I don't get it. I don't get the committee's thought there. Just some quick takes on the NFL. You know, the playoffs are going to be starting here pretty soon. Of course, the last few games of the regular season will decide a lot of what goes on over these next couple of weeks. Of course, I mentioned with the big win by the Dolphins last night over New England. So there's a lot still to decide. Only a couple division titles have been decided. Pittsburgh is already in. They've clinched the AFC North in the AFC. And the NFC, Philadelphia has clinched the NFC East. But unfortunately, it came at a big price because their star quarterback, MVP candidate, Carson Wentz, tore the left ACL on his knee against the Rams, and he is done for the year. It is another one of just a brutal set of injuries that have really affected the NFL season, especially at the quarterback position. Losing Wentz, losing Deshaun Watson to a torn ACL, Aaron Rodgers to broken collarbone, although he'll probably come back this next week. You know, we've lost some other big name guys to these injuries, and Tyrod Taylor's been banged up. Matthew Stafford's been banged up. Derek Carr has been banged up this year. So it has just been a brutal. Of course, Andrew Luck not playing for the Colts. You know, so it has just been, you know, Sam Bradford getting hurt in Minnesota with Case Keenum having to fill in. I could go on and on and on about these big name quarterbacks that have gone down with these season-ending injuries, and it's tough. Excuse me. It's tough to watch. It sucks that it has happened this way. But to Carson Wentz, to Deshaun Watson, I tweeted at both of them when the injuries happened, because I'm a Texans fan. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I watched Carson Wentz play at Oklahoma State. I had the privilege of watching him a couple times when I went to Indiana State games to see him play. And these two guys are humble. They're Christian men. They know that God has a plan for their life and a purpose. And this is just, to them, it's a minor roadblock. To them, it's, he knows that his plan's still perfect, and they're going to get through this and come back better and stronger than ever. And so I tweeted my support to both of them, but I also want to use this platform to say it on here. Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, good luck to both of you in your recovery. Get well soon. Fight like hell. Get back to where you need to be, back at 100%, back to being the awesome quarterback leaders for your teams. I'm going to root so hardcore for you guys to get back. I understand that's a devastating injury, and sometimes players don't look the same from a torn ACL. They don't get back to that full strength that they used to have. But there are some players that do get back there. So with hard work and rehab and listening to the doctors and strength training and all that they have to do to get back to where they need to be. So Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, I'm rooting hard for you guys. Fight, get rehabbing, get on it, get back to where you need to be. I'm gonna be rooting so hard for both you guys. And again, I mentioned in the stock report video that I was wrong on the Eagles this year. I totally whiffed on Philadelphia. I apologize to everybody. I totally whiffed on them. I did not expect them to be this good. But without Carson Wentz, they might not get to the Super Bowl. But here's the thing: Nick Foles isn't exactly bad either. Like he knows this system well. He's a good enough quarterback that I don't think the Eagles are gonna, obviously I don't think they're gonna get to the Super Bowl, but they're at least I think they could still go deep in the NFC playoffs with Foles under center. It's not like a situation in Houston where they lose Deshaun Watson and then they go to the tank because Tom Savage is not very good and they don't have really good quarterbacks behind Deshaun Watson. So that was just Houston's season was lost from the get-go and Watson went down. But the Eagles, I don't think, are at that point, yet. So, but I'm rooting so hard for the both of you to get back. I really hope that you do. I'm really pulling for both you guys and on all these quarterbacks that have been hit by these devastating injuries and any player that has happened to. J.J. Watt in Houston with a knee injury. He's walking now, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm so proud of J.J. Watt and him fighting like hell to get back. So I hope that he comes back full health next year. Whitney Merciless, all these players, fight like crazy and get back to being, where you need to be. So it's going to be a fun push to the finish. It always is in these final weeks of the season because these games, they really mean something for these teams that are either, close to a division title or still in the hunt. There's still a lot of teams in both conferences that are in the hunt. In fact, Miami, with that stunning win over New England, they're now only a game out of the last wild card spot if you really think about it. The wild card spot is occupied by Buffalo at 7-6. That's how weak the AFC is. Now the NFC, and I tweeted this too, the NFC is going to be now a lot more unpredictable in the playoff aspect than the AFC because we know the AFC is very top-heavy with Pittsburgh and New England. You'd think that one of those two teams is probably going to win the AFC because I can't really envision a scenario where, like, say, a Jacksonville or a Tennessee or a Kansas, whoever wins the West, whether it be Kansas City, Oakland, Chargers, whoever, or the wild card team would come out and make a deep run like that. I think it's obviously going to be Pittsburgh or New England that wins the AFC. Now the NFC, I think any one of the 6 playoff teams could honestly come out of the NFC. You got Philly, who's still going to, be, not great with Wentz, but okay. Minnesota is well balanced on both sides of the football. Case Keenum is coming out of nowhere to be a stud. The running game is good with Murray and McKinnon. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen are studs. Kyle Rudolph is a stud tight end. And that defense, especially that secondary, is just scary. And then you got New Orleans, loaded with talent out the wazoo with Breeze, Ingram, Kamara, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn. at those positions. Their kicker's good. I mean, and the defense is getting better. The LA Rams, my gosh, they have been a treat to watch this year with Jared Goff developing into a legit quarterback, Todd Gurley at running back, Cooper Kupp, Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods at wide receiver, Higbee breaking out at tight end, and their defense, one of the more beastly units in the NFL. And then even the wild card teams, which right now, oh, by the way, are Carolina and Atlanta, two of the, again, that can always be scary come the postseason. Carolina, you want to play against Carolina either on the road or at home with Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Stewart, Devin Funchess, Greg Olsen when he's healthy, and that defense, I don't think so. They keep pounding. They're literally. And then Atlanta, well, we know what Atlanta can do when they're good, when they're not choking away leads. I mean, we know what Atlanta can normally do. And for them to be a 6 seed, it'd be one of the more scary 6 seeds because when Matt Ryan and Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman and Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu are on their game, Atlanta's on their game. So, and you still got Seattle. You still got Seattle tied with Atlanta, just play Seattle in the postseason anywhere with Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett and Jimmy Graham and that defense. You don't want to face that. And again, Detroit is lurking there. When Detroit is on its game, when Matthew Stafford is healthy and on his game, Detroit can be scary good. Green Bay's getting Aaron Rodgers back. You don't think he wants to be in the playoffs? And Dallas is still in this, a game back with Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott coming back from suspension and Dez Bryant. The NFC is going to be fun over these next few weeks to see who's going to get in. It's going to be awesome. It's one of the more awesome times of the year. Football, yes, is winding down, but this is one of the more exciting times of the year with the NFL postseason chase, the playoffs, college football bowl games, and then we can shift gears to more about college basketball. And that's what we're doing here. Where we're ending the stock report for the year, we're shifting to Tracking the Madness. But that doesn't mean that we don't get to enjoy at least some of the fun of football still left to celebrate. So that's why it's still exciting in these weeks to come. All right, guys, that is all I've got. That's on my mind. I pretty much emptied it. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. Again, the views, the subscribers, you guys are awesome. It means always so much to me to see the views. If you guys comment on it, to share your thoughts, please, by all means, if you have any comments, thoughts on anything I talked about, anything I discussed, if something hit a nerve with you, please feel free to share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on anything I discussed as well, whether it be the stuff I got, or the Tennessee situation, the committee, the NFL, anything anything pony related as well, anything you want to talk about, please by all means share it. I do this not only just because I like being on YouTube and I like doing this, but because it's the hobby, but because for you guys, I want to put out there how I feel about things and just share my thoughts. And like I said, I always have an open mind, and that's why I was so inspired to do this show and not only share my thoughts on pony stuff, but anything else that's on my mind. And believe me, it is also not easy. When I mentioned about the prep for the stock report, it is not easy to come up with topics for this show sometimes either. I literally have to think about, okay, what can I talk about? What can I discuss? What can really generate a strong reaction for me? And that's what happened with the Tennessee thing and then the committee and all that. So yeah, I do take what I do on YouTube serious. And even though, I don't do it for the money or, and I know, again, in this day and age on YouTube, it's getting harder to make money because a lot of, my fellow, bronies and fans of the fandom on YouTube that are getting their videos demonetized. I enjoy what I do because it's fun. I enjoy, sharing my thoughts, and I enjoy doing this and, again, being a part of it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate that very, very much. And In terms of what is next ahead, episode 13 probably will not be again till this will probably be the last video for me of 2017. It probably will be. In fact, it will be because I probably won't do episode 13 of this show until probably January or by early January, because again, with the Christmas holiday coming up and then New Year's and all that excitement and craziness going on, I probably want time to really do much in terms of the show. Again, though, I will starting to do projections for bracketology for Tracking the Madness. So, excuse me. So that will probably be coming soon next month as well. So you'll still have ATSD, and you'll have Tracking the Madness starting next month in January. So thank you guys again for your support all throughout this year. It has just been a total blast through all the bloopers, the moments, the just everything, and just my co-host with when I do shows with Nate and Matt. It has been a joy. It always is. We always have fun, and it has just been so awesome. This year for me has been one of highs, one of lows, one of cool events. Like I said, the Mascot Summit, the first PonyCon experience. It has been just a cool list of things that have happened, and I cannot wait to see what 2018 has in store. It's always that anticipation, and that's definitely what this channel has to come, and it's definitely what the year ahead has to come. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for viewing. It means so much to me. It really does, and that you enjoy what I do, and that you tune in, and that you get at least some, whether it be inspiration, satisfaction, whatever the reason is why you watch my videos. I thank you. I thank you for that very, very much, and I appreciate all you who do that. So the fact that I can provide a decent experience and a worthwhile experience in fantasy football advice, or in NCAA advice, or in just talking about My Little Pony and anything else in my mind, that if that makes an impact on you somehow, then I'm glad I'm doing this. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Merry Christmas to all of you. God bless all of you, and have a great end your 2017. And here is to many more breeze, excitement, passion, and great times ahead in 2018. Spiky Dash out for one last time in 2017. Good night. God bless.